Welcome. Please verify your clearance below. Welcome, user Carlson. Congratulations on your promotion to Ethics Committee member. You have one document awaiting review. Would you like to proceed? Yes. Please wait. Opening file. Level 4, 6111 classified. Item number SCP-6111, Memoria. Safe. Assigned site, Site-17. Site Director, Director Graham. Researcher Head, Dr. Benedict. Assigned Task Force, Mobile Task Force New 7. Hammer down. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-6111 is kept in a standard secure locker in Site-17. SCP-6111 is now kept in a reinforced secure containment locker with additional biometric security measures restricted to personnel involved in Project Prompt 2 in Site-17. No writing tools are permitted within 20 meters of the locker outside of Project Prompt 2 to ensure the continued effectiveness of containment. At the end of every month, a group of hand-selected and specially trained personnel are to carry out Project Prompt 2. Personnel will be hand-selected by the project lead director, Dr. Benedict, with approval from the site director and the O5 command. Information on the nature of the Project Prompt 2 will be provided by Ethics Committee members prior to assignment. Description: SCP-6111 is an average-size 200, now 137-page blue hardcover book. Dating estimates the book to have been produced circa 1950. SCP-6111's anomalous ability manifests when the name of a living individual is written on its pages, while the writer visualizes the subject's face. After a period of 5 minutes from writing the name, the target individual will be spontaneously transported to a large unidentified mountain range with heavy forestation, designated SCP-6111-1. Testing of this effect has revealed that all personal items, i.e. clothing and worn equipment, will be transported with them with no notable side effects. If the target individual is already present within SCP-6111-1, then writing their name will transport them back to the location they were taken from instead. Exploration of the region strongly suggests that it is located somewhere on Earth, with the sun and moon rising as expected, and astrological observations aligning with current charts. The precise location of SCP-6111-1, however, has yet to be identified since all use of GPS has failed. Initial exploration of the area has also demonstrated no apparent limits to its expanse, nor any visible civilization of any kind. The only noted difference between this space and our own is a notable time dilation effect. Research is also ongoing as to how the purely floral ecosystem has sustained itself, as well as why this dilation effect has not resulted in the natural evolution of any animal or insect life within the region. Experiment Log, November 5th, 1980. Forward. After discovering the time-dilating characteristics of SCP-6111-1 during initial testing, it was decided that further exploration of the region would be necessary to ascertain the nature of the time dilation, as well as the physical limits of the space. Procedure: D-5331 and D-8469's names will be written on a page in SCP-6111. To account for the relative time difference within SCP-6111-1, D-5331 and D-8469 will be equipped with a standard survival kit, including tents, several days' worth of MREs, and basic survival tools, such as a compass, flashlight, spare batteries, etc. Researchers have been instructed to wait approximately 10 minutes before writing D-5331 and D-8469's names on the page again in order to return. Neither subject has been informed of the anomalous nature of SCP-6111 or -1. D-5331 and D-8469 are present in the testing chamber, separated by a reinforced glass panel. At 1317, D-5331 is instructed to write his own name, as well as the name of D-8469 on the page from SCP-6111, using a standard black ink ballpoint pen. SCP-6111 is then taken out of the testing chamber. At 119, so is something supposed to happen? Aren't these things supposed to, like, kill people and shit? I don't know, man. I feel fine, I guess. I mean, we've got all these supplies, so, like, we must be going somewhere, right? At 1321, D-5331 is abruptly cut off as they vanish from the testing chamber. Oh, fuck. D-8469 also abruptly vanishes from the testing chamber. At 1331, D-5331 and D-8469 names are written again on SCP-6111 by researchers. At 1331, D-5331 spontaneously manifests in their original position. The subject was immediately questioned regarding their time in SCP-6111-1 and the apparent absence of D-8469. D-5331 stated that after the first few days, they thought that they were able to escape the Foundation within SCP-6111-1. After nearly a week had passed, they realized that there wasn't enough food to last. D-5331 reported that D-8469 proceeded to attack him after a particularly heated argument, resulting in D-5331 wounding him in self-defense. D-8469 is presumed deceased from their injuries. Conclusions. Based on the experiences of both subjects, supported by the number of supplies they consumed during their time within SCP-6111-1, it has been determined that there is roughly a 1 to 1200 difference in timescale. That would mean that for every month spent inside of SCP-6111-1, subjects experience roughly 1 century. Due to this, excursions into SCP-6111-1 that last longer than a few minutes are ill-advised. Additionally, the absence of D-8469's corpse, even though his name had been rewritten, confirms that the dead corpses inside 6111-1 cannot be brought back. SCP-6111 Incident Report. On July 9th, 1980, SCP Redacted broke containment and proceeded to rampage through a D-Class cell block, damaging multiple cells and freeing their occupants in the process. During the chaos, D-5331 somehow managed to abscond with SCP-6111, having gained knowledge of its function through assigned exploration testing with the object. Before site security identified the missing item, D-5331 managed to write his own name into SCP-6111 as D-5331 stole the only known instance of SCP-6111, obtaining any information pertaining to either the individual or SCP-6111's whereabouts has been designated as a high priority. Addendum 1. Approximately 1 hour after the theft of SCP-6111, multiple D-classes were reported missing from their cells. Security camera footage has shown that these disappearances all occurred within a short period of each other, and all missing D-class were located within the same cell block as D-5331. During further investigation, it was discovered that D-5331 may have also stolen a list of names for D-Class personnel on site from the cell block warden's office. This, in combination with the unusual disappearance of D-Class from the same block, suggests the possibility that D-5331 was somehow still alive and aiding other D-Class in their escape from Site-17. Within a matter of few weeks, a total of 937 D-Class also disappeared, all having had some form of interaction with one another in a sort of daisy chain effect, further supporting the idea that SCP-6111 is being used to smuggle D-Class out of Foundation facilities across the globe. It has also been speculated the use of SCP-6111 may have been involved in a number of minor thefts and raids on smaller Foundation facilities, all of which had at least one D-Class disappear from their holding blocks prior to the event. Missing D-Class has been reported walking through the sites from which they disappeared on several of these occasions, but all missing individuals have eluded capture thus far. Among the items stolen are general supplies, such as food, books, and toiletries, as well as more notable items such as weapons and ammunition, access cards, and several classified documents. A steady increase in the frequency and severity of these incursions suggests a significant population may now likely reside within SCP-6111-1. Addendum 2. On the 12th of October 1980, D-4756, one of the missing D-Class, was captured raiding the supply stores of Site-17. D-4756 was seen entering the storage area by site staff. When security teams arrived, D-4756 was found huddled in a corner of the room with a large backpack and several bags filled with miscellaneous objects similar to previous reports. D-4756 also had a standard-issue security rifle in their possession. When ordered to relinquish the weapon, D-4756 refused and opened fire on the security team. Security personnel returned fire, critically wounding D-4756 before the subject abruptly disappeared, leaving behind several of the bags which they had dropped, as well as a crumpled piece of paper that appeared to have been torn from a book. The page had a number of names written on it, each one corresponding to a missing D-Class, including that of D-4756. Given the possibility of a connection to SCP-6111, researchers attempted to bring back the individuals listed on the page. Of the double-digit redacted names listed, only single-digit redacted were able to be recovered by writing their names on the page again. It was noted that D-4756 was not among the recovered D-Class, likely having died of their wounds shortly after disappearing. Interrogation of the recovered individuals revealed that a settlement had been built within the Anomalous region, accessed by SCP-6111 shortly after the theft of the book by D-5331. D-5331 had deemed himself their redeemer and promised freedom in this new world, free from the Foundation. The D-Class also revealed that they had, in fact, been using SCP-6111 in order to steal supplies periodically, as needs had grown significantly over the years inside the internal region of SCP-6111. In addition to the information obtained through interrogation, several of the D-Class had been found possessing similar pieces of SCP-6111. In order to verify the statements of the recovered D-Class and assess the current situation within the anomalous place, Agent Michael Redacted of Mobile Task Force Alpha 4, Pony Express, was briefly sent in using the page recovered from D-4756. Agent Michael's orders were to avoid all contact and reconnoiter the area before using the page to return. Upon Agent Michael's return, they confirmed all of the information divulged by the recovered D-Class. The existence of an entire city of D-Class capable of spontaneously teleporting into and out of Foundation facilities was considered too high a risk to let continue without immediate action. Agent Michael volunteered to infiltrate SCP-6111-1 and recover SCP-6111. On December 12, 1980, Agent Michael, posing as D-7815, was introduced into the rank of Site-17's D-Class holding block. where a significant number of the missing D-Class had escaped. Within several days, Agent Michael received an opportunity to escape with several other D-Class who had been in contact with the inhabitants of the place of SCP-6111. Agent Michael took the opportunity, disappearing into the anomalous place, secretly in possession of one of the recovered pages provided by the Foundation. Approximately 1 hour after his disappearance, Agent Michael reappeared inside Site-17 with SCP-6111 in his possession. A debriefing interview was conducted immediately following their return. Show interview log. Interviewed, MTF Alpha 4, Agent Michael. Interviewer, Dr. Benedict. Forward. Questions about the current situation of the colony of D-Class which has formed inside the internal region of SCP-6111. Begin log. Please state your name. Michael redacted. Perfect. So Michael, could you tell me what you saw during your undercover mission into SCP-6111-1? Do you want me to start from the holding block or jump straight to Dream City? Dream City? Yeah, that's how the D-Class calling the place. They've started calling themselves the Dreamers. Said it's because they're no longer disposable and are free from the nightmares they endured in the Foundation, or sometime like that. Interesting. Please continue. So yeah, there really isn't much to say about the block. A surprising amount of the D-Class has heard of this place. It's sort of turning into D-Class heaven for some of these guys. I couldn't believe a lot of what they were saying about it, even after seeing it from a distance. But when they finally found me in, I was truly amazed. The place was beautiful, like some kind of Garden of Eden. The inhabitants may be death row inmates, but they were all kind and appreciable. Since there isn't any kind of animal there, they were all vegan, and no one seemed to complain about it. Some of them have even started whole families. Others built their homes with the resources inside of SCP-6111-1. It was really peaceful. How did you manage to steal SCP-6111? Well, once I got in there, it was actually hard to pin it down. Because of the accelerated time inside that world, D-5331 was obviously long dead. And they had been passed down to someone else who they also named D-5331 as a way to honor him, even though they don't use numbers to identify themselves. They practically worshipped that guy, you know? It was like some kind of saint to them, and I guess I can see why. I don't see how that is pertinent to the recovering SCP-6111. You said they passed it on to someone else? Sorry. So they gave it to this guy that they voted in to take the place of D-5331. He lived up in one of the bigger houses, looked older, probably started building it a little after 6111 was stolen. It was decorated with all sorts of stuff stolen from the Foundation sites. That lines up with the reports we were receiving. After that, I just sort of slipped in the back and took the book. Put my name on that page you gave me, and here we are. Looks like there are quite a few missing pages, though. We should be able to recover a significant number of the escapees with what's been written in SCP-6111. Thank you for your hard work, Michael. When it comes time to take in the rest of the colony, you're welcome to join the operation. Was there anything else important that you wanted to add? Yeah, actually. What is it, Michael? I don't think we should invade them. I mean, yeah, we should probably recover the pages, but there are so many people living there that were born there. They're not D-Class. That place is all they know. Would it really hurt to just leave them alone? Excuse me? Look, all I saw in that place was peace. I know some of these guys have done some messed up stuff, but most of them seem to have either changed or died of old age in there. I don't think it's our place to ruin these people's paradise. Agent, do you realize how big of a risk that would be to the Foundation? We've lost a significant number of D-Class for starters, and you want to let them go based on the goodness of their hearts? They are the children of killers, murderers, the worst of the worst, Michael. Yes, but we just had a horrible breach at Site redacted because of the D-Class in Breaker disappeared. Good people died because of that. People I knew. I'm very sorry for your loss, sir, and I understand that. Do you understand, Michael? I still think they should be allowed to stay. These people have been, frankly, massacred, tortured, and mutilated. The ones that are born there haven't even committed any crime. But they know how this place works, Benedict. We're going to take them out of that place and throw them in a jumpsuit anyway. How are they any different than the rest of the people we protect from these monsters? The poor bastards we put in things like the Breaker had friends and family too. They were someone's kid. I think they deserve. That's it. You're out of line, Michael. Your time in that place has clearly affected your reasoning. This interview was terminated. Benedict, wait. End log. Closing statement. Agent Michael was administered Class C amnestics to erase all memory of his mission into SCP-6111-1, a vote by the Ethics Committee and O5 Command regarding the removal of the D-Class inhabitants from SCP-6111-1 is currently pending. Addendum 3. Addendum 3, redacted. Following its creation with the approval of the O5 Command and the Ethics Committee, Project Prompt 2 has been deemed the most appropriate means of dealing with the current situation. End of file. Help. Yes. Are you sure you updated my new clearance level? Let me check. Seems everything is updated. May I ask why? There is a lot of expunged info. I find it strange. I thought Ethics Committee was one of the highest clearances. Also, why did I need to read this file? I think everything will be answered in the email for you I just received. Do you want to open it? Yes. Please wait. Opening email. To Carlson Jeff from Sumerian Jeremiah. Subject, Project Prompt 2. So congratulations on your new position as an Ethics Committee member. You must be wondering why, with all of the more entertaining things the Foundation deals with, why you were charged with this, one of the lesser-known anomalies monitored by the Ethics Committee. You could have been assigned to any number of ethically questionable projects. Goodness knows there are plenty in the Foundation. But no, you're working on this one. An SCP no one has ever heard about, with a vaguely ambiguous situation that seems to have wrapped the whole thing a neat little bow. I know you probably have so many questions, and I did too the first time. What happened in the last addendum? What happened to the Dream City? What is Project Prompt 2? This message is here to fill you in on the details. The document you just read was meant to make you ask questions. First of all, there is no Addendum 3. There never was. It and Project Prompt 2 are there by recommendation of Reza in the case of a security breach, so that if this goes public, then everything sounds like it's been handled. I'm here to tell you what 6111 really is. I think it's kinda stupid, but whatever. The only personnel allowed to know the truth are the overseers and the ethics committee. So, counting you, Carlson. But before we get to those answers, let me tell you an old story. Back in 1980, the Foundation, as you know it, was in quite a predicament. At the time, most of the world's developed countries were starting to ban the death sentence. Even life sentences were being fought. Given these were major sources for our D-Class program, you can probably guess why this doesn't bode well for the Foundation. At the time, we didn't have reliable technology with which to grow clones. Well, at least no technology that wasn't being reserved for bigger priorities. We were forced to make do for quite some time. with the average number of on-hand D-Class at a site sitting around 1,000 or less, and we had a few dangerously close calls thanks to those circumstances. Obviously, this is no longer the case today. Things changed when D-5331 stole the book. Somehow he managed to build a city of D-Class inside of SCP-6111-1 and stole a significant portion of what D-Class we had left. Within a few weeks, most sites' D-Class numbers were down to double digits or less. And we had to do something, and, well, at this point, you're probably caught up. The O5 decided to send in Agent Michael and tear the city down. They consider the threat of an anomalous city of D-Class too great to just live and let live. We all expected some resistance, but we weren't expecting a war. We sent in a mobile task force to do the dirty work and clean out the ones we couldn't manage to bring back with SCP-6111. When they got to the city, the D-Class were already prepared. They had put together an army of their own from stolen gear and scraps, and turned their little city into a fortress. We lost a lot more people than we had anticipated. The Dream City fought back against us with tooth and nail, clawing every inch of the way. Of course they didn't want to go back. Who wants to be considered disposable? Some of them even went so far as suicide, preferring to go out on their own terms than at the hands of some monster contained by the Foundation. In the end, we took the city. The D-Class that survived were amnesticized and sent to the facilities that needed them most. There still weren't enough. During this process, their leader offered a compromise. Yeah, none of us were expecting that. His proposition was at the end of every month, we take what we need out of their city and amnesticize the rest, and in return they get supplies and live out their lives in peace. It's a weird sort of compromise, but this way, when the D-Class in the city has pretty much lived out the perfect life, we wipe their minds and we get to use them as needed again. That's Project Prompt 2, and we still use it when we need D-Class to this day. Their leaders then tell those that are left behind that their bodies were given a burial ceremony elsewhere, and we all move on with our lives. We've left a portion of SCP-6111 as collateral for the supplies we provide, and kept the other portion so that we can retrieve the month's D-Class and follow through on our end of the bargain. It's a perfect loop. With the amount of D-Class that we receive through this project, there is no real need for using up vital resources like other anomalies to clone them. That's not to say we don't get them from elsewhere when an exceptional or urgent need arises, but 6111 helps cut down on other less savory methods. The committee quickly approved the idea and Site-17 proposed to help along. Even the ethics committee understands that sometimes we must do difficult things and finds it challenging to arguing with this one. I mean, the D-Class get to live a whole life in peace. What we need them for effectively becomes like a really bad dream, and we all sleep a little better by looking at it that way. We have Site-17 staff and MTFs to take care of the thing, and a member of the ethics committee embedded in their leadership. This single member is called D-5331 by the inhabitants of Dream City. D-5331 is a role we gave to each one of us every month. D-5331 is the one in charge of Project Prompt 2 and has the right to visit the city to ensure the project will still continue. It was even me for 1 month. Heck, it might be you one day or another. Overall, we let them live in the light so they may die in the dark. And by the way, if you don't want any trouble, don't ask questions. Is it bad? Is it good? Don't ask. All you need to know is this. We are the SCP Foundation. We don't deal in black or white. We are gray, and it shall stay that way. Secure, contain, protect.